Before I tell you the options that you have, let me tell you the difference between exams, okay? So some exams, it's like pass or don't pass. So some exams, you do them, okay, and then you either pass or you don't pass. There's a special level, so you choose the exam you're going to do, all right? And then it's a pass or don't pass. Other exams, everyone will do the same test, but people will get different scores, and that will tell you your level. Okay, so some exams will tell you your level, and other exams you either pass or you won't pass. Okay, so let's start with the exams where you either pass or you don't pass. That's the Cambridge exam. Okay, I don't know if you're familiar with the Cambridge exams. I personally really like these exams because I feel that you really learn English when you do them. Okay, I'm actually teaching at the moment the CAE, which is the advanced one, and it's so much fun. I really like it. Okay, so yeah, with the Cambridge exams, guys, there are different levels for the test. You have all the way from the pre-intermediate all the way to advanced. Actually, proficiency. So you have all these different types, okay? So basically, when it comes to Cambridge exams, you would have to know your level, and then you choose the exam, and then you either pass or you don't pass. Okay, so that's Cambridge, okay? So you have one exam called KET, which is for pre-intermediate students. PET, not PTE, PET, which for intermediate students. FCE, I think is the most popular one, for upper intermediate students. Then you have CAE for advanced students, and CPE, the one I did, for proficiency. Okay, that's like crazy English. I did that one. Okay, guys. So you check your level, and then you decide which one you're going to take. And then you do the exam, and then Cambridge will tell you, you passed. Well done. Or no, you didn't pass. I'm sorry. Fail. Okay, so that's the kind of exam that you get that result. And something that is quite important about Cambridge, it lasts forever. So Cambridge exams, the expiry date is never, okay? Most exams I'm going to talk about after with you guys, they have expiry dates, whereas Cambridge doesn't. Okay, so a lot of people ask me, oh, should I do IELTS? Should I do Cambridge? I'm like, what do you want? You know, guys, what do you need? Me, for example, when I had to do the IELTS for immigration purposes, okay, they asked me a really low score for the IELTS. And then I had the CPE, which is a really high score exam, but they didn't accept it. And they said, oh, no, you still have to do the IELTS. I'm like, okay, fine. I have an exam which is like an 8 on the IELTS, and I need 4.5. Now I have to do the IELTS. I'm like, oh, that's annoying. Okay, so again, I had an exam that was amazing, but I still had to do something else because what I wanted to do had changed. So again, think about what you need, and then you choose your exams, okay? So definitely Cambridge, okay? If you really want to study English, if you want to check your level kind of thing, okay, pass, don't pass, okay? I know in Europe, a lot of companies might ask for that, okay? And again, guys, with people who know Cambridge, if you tell them, I have this exam, people know your level. Okay, so that's why Cambridge is quite good. Okay, then we have the exams where you take it, and then people will tell you your score. The institution will tell you your score. Okay, one of them is the TOEFL exam. Okay, most people who do the TOEFL exam is because they want to do something probably in Australia, in the United States. Okay, so TOEFL is more for North America. Okay, and it's very similar to IELTS, okay? So if you want to study in the United States, you're probably going to do the TOEFL, okay? I don't think here in Australia, lots of institutions would accept TOEFL, okay? So, yeah. So just think about it. Again, what do you need, okay? Then another very popular exam, especially in countries from Asia, is the TOEIC. Okay, I don't know if you heard of this exam before, TOEIC. So this TOEIC exam is actually, again, you do it and they give you the score, okay? And then in the TOEIC exam, it's interesting because they just test your reading and your listening. That's it. Okay, and it's more business. So I've had lots of students from Asia, and they said, I need to do the TOEIC. I actually helped some people. I was like part of the test. I help people with the test, I did the test for them, I prepared the test for them, which was pretty cool. But this one specifically, okay, guys, is for the people who need that one. So I know that in Japan, it's very common. Okay, but some places, I think France also is asking for this exam because it's for more people who are business people. Okay, but it's interesting because it just tests reading and listening. Okay, so again, some people need this exam, so they do this exam. Okay, then we go to the ones that we're going to talk about today. Okay, so today I'm going to tell you more about PTE and IELTS. Okay, what's the difference? Which one should you do? Okay, so let me tell a little bit about the PTE exam, right? So the PTE exam is an exam that has been, it's being accepted in Australia, okay, and in other countries too, okay, mostly for either immigration purposes or education purposes, okay? So people who want to study or people who want to immigrate to another country, okay, especially Australia, okay? So the PTE exam, again, is an exam that you do the test and they tell you your score. Okay, so that's the PTE exam, okay? PTE exam is quite different because you do everything on the computer, even the speaking part. So you're constantly talking to the computer. Okay, guys? So yeah, so one thing that makes the PTE a little bit different also is that it's a short exam. Actually, it became shorter recently. It used to be longer, but they shortened the exam a little bit, okay? So one thing that makes it a little bit complicated to study for is the fact that there are some parts of the test that are actually testing two different skills. For example, there will be one thing that I have to do during the exam that will test your listening and your writing. Another one that will test your reading and your listening. Another one that will test your listening and your speaking at the same time. Okay, so you have these things, writing and listening at the same time, okay? So it can be hard to study for this exam, mostly because if you don't do very well in one part of the test, you're not sure which activity you have to practice more because maybe it's one that has two different types of skills. So that can be a little bit complicated, all right? Then, okay, and something that makes the PTE exam a little bit easier is the writing part. Okay, so the writing part of the PTE tends to be a bit easier compared to all the other exams. Okay, and again, guys, a computer is checking your score. Remember, it's not a person, it's a computer. Okay, so I've been helping some people with it, and it's interesting. It's an interesting test. Okay, but it makes it easy. Okay, the writing part is easy. However, I have been finding that people struggle with the speaking part of the PTE exam. Okay, so it's like, so you have this test that one part is harder, one part is a little bit difficult. Okay, so with the PTE exam, I feel that the writing part is easy, but the speaking part can be hard. Okay, and I will elaborate more on that later. Okay, and the IELTS exam. Okay, so the IELTS exam is again an exam that if you want to go to Canada, if you want to go to the UK, lots of different places, you can take this exam. And you can use the IELTS for immigration purposes, okay, and also for educational purposes. All right, and and how does it work? Nowadays, you can do the IELTS on the computer, okay, but the speaking part still with the person. Okay, the speaking part still with the person, okay? So then, and again, if you've done any English course, the IELTS is going to be simple. It's basically read a text, answer the questions, okay? So it's it's a straightforward exam, okay? You don't have to, I feel, for example, the PTE exam, you really have to understand how the test works, okay? And then you do the test, all right? Whereas the IELTS, I think it's more like if you've done an English course, you know how it works, okay? So, and what is easy about the IELTS part, the IELTS test? I think the speaking part is quite easy, okay, and the listening part is quite simple. However, people tend to struggle with the writing part, and that's why that's my specialty, okay? Because I felt that students really struggled with the writing part of the IELTS test. So what did I do? I got really good at it so I can teach my students and help them, okay? So that's one of the things that I do. Okay, I help people with the writing part because a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people tend to struggle. Okay,